Well, welcome to the Revive Life last show of the year 2020 AD. We're going to do it on aging and speed of time. Oh, and by the way, at the end of this segment, I'm going to have some posters up that I want you, and we'll put some time on each poster. I would love it, and you will benefit tremendously if you copy those posters and sit and meditate on them. They will impact you very profoundly if given the time to think about. Last session I talked about the financial analyst who very successful giving advice to people on money, but he has taken up this hobby / vocation where he learns a skill and he does that skill for a whole year. And if you remember, the first year he did bull riding and actually did competition bull riding. The second year he had taken up fencing and he actually competed doing fencing sword competition. And this year he went to vocational school and learned carpentry, and now every Saturday he goes down to the day laborer section, gets picked up and goes out and does jobs as a carpenter. What does this have to do with aging and speed of time? I'll get back to him at the end of this segment. Are weekends coming faster? Is the weekend itself warp speeding into Monday? Are the months jetting through the seasons? Are the years, a lot of us, myself included, when the commercial comes up for Medicare supplement insurance, you're taking down the telephone number. It is going to be true for everyone regardless of your age. So there's two theories why aging and the perception of time, how it speeds up, why does that happen? Two theories. Let me share with them. And then I'm going to tell you how you can slow that perception of time down. So why aging affects time, people's perception. One theory, when you're 6 years old, there's 90% of your life in front of you. And time slows down, and I believe the real reason is, remember when you were growing up, when you were in grade school, I can't wait till I'm in junior high. And when you were in junior high, I can't wait until I'm in high school. And time was slow because you thought that life would all of a sudden be better when you were in that part, when you met the perfect person, when you got the perfect job, when you got through this in order to do that. Time was very slow to you in perception. As opposed to you're 60 years old and you've got about approximately 10% of your life left in front of you. And why does that make time speed up? I think it has to do with going back to the child who was always wishing that something else would be happening, high school, growing, getting older, being able to do this, that, and the other thing. The older person realizes that being older and being able to do all those things, that's all fine and well, but there's always not perfect satisfaction in getting there. And now they're in their 60s, as I am, and time is really going by because there's only so many years left. That's one theory. Second theory, we get in routines, and physiologically, when we know something very well, how to do something very well, there's an actual neural pathway. And when you add to that pathway, it doesn't change anything. In fact, it makes the thought process and the experience of whatever you're doing go that much faster, because the thicker and deeper, wider that neural pathway becomes, the less time it has for your perception to go through that pathway to do whatever it is you're going to do. So those two theories, I believe, are the answer in conjunction. And here is what I mean by them being in conjunction. How they work in conjunction, I'm going to visually represent it. So you've got the 6-year-old versus the 60-year-old. So the 6-year-old, 90% of life in front of them. The 60-year-old, approximately, please don't take this literally, 10%. The 6-year-old is wishing to be older. Everything slows down. The 60-year-old is kind of cynical, maybe a little jaded, because as he or she got older, those things that were supposed to make them fully happy fell short oftentimes. That second theory, remember this is in conjunction, the neural pathway. You're just learning something. You've got a line like that. You learn more. It gets a little bit thicker. You learn more. And here's a terminology. The broader the bandwidth, the quicker it travels. So time speeds up the perception in relation to how much you know of something. So I told you at the beginning that I would tell you the two theories, but I'd also, more importantly, tell you how to slow down that perception of time speeding up as you age. Tying all this together, the two theories, and how to make the perception of time slow down even though you are aging, I want to tell you a true story. It comes from my free talk on how to prevent Alzheimer's and or greatly extend the time before the signs of Alzheimer's show up. Back in the 1980s, a Dr. David Snowden was looking for a research project. A graduate student of his told him about an order of nuns, the Nuns of Minkato, Minnesota, M-I-N-K-A-T-O, how they live very, very long, and yet they have an extremely low incidence of Alzheimer's. It was a good epidemiological study format because they came from all different parts of the country, all different nationalities, and yet here they are all together in one convent. They live into their hundreds, very low incidence of Alzheimer's or dementia in general as compared to the rest of the country. So he goes and he studies them for 5 years. And he can't find anything that's jumping out, nutritionally, exercise, nothing is just boom, this is it, this is the miracle, the snake oil. So he comes to this conclusion. He's kind of embarrassed what he has to ask the order of nuns. But he gets up the gumption and he goes to them, and there's a little over 300 of them. And he says to them, I can't find why you have a low incidence of dementia and Alzheimer's, even though you live into your hundreds. Could I possibly autopsy your brains and then find out if there's something there? It was a teaching order of nuns, and one of the nuns is reputed to have said, "You mean I'll be dead and I'll still be teaching?" Absolutely, yes. Well, over 90% of the nuns gave their permission to have their brains autopsied. As they passed away, he started autopsying their brains, and this is what he found out. Now, wait till you hear this. And this is all fact. You can look it up. Nuns of Mikado, Dr. David Snowden, the Alzheimer's study. They did have Alzheimer's, physiologically as evidenced by the amyloid plaques found in their brains, in the tau tangles. Amyloid plaque is a plaque, fat, and all this other stuff that clumps together in the brain, and what it does is it makes a barrier for a neural pathway to connect to another neural pathway. And because that barrier is there, that's when they start forgetting things. Now, in Alzheimer's, they have great memories from way back when, but they forget what is happening most recent or the use of certain things. As the plaque gets larger, more signs present themselves. They did have the physiological aspects of Alzheimer's. So he goes back to the drawing board and, okay, what is different? What are they doing? They do have Alzheimer's. They do have the physiological presence that causes Alzheimer's. Why aren't they showing the signs? And then it, boom, jumps out off the page at him. It was a little known but common fact that this order of nuns were known to be 80 years old. I've never learned how to play a musical instrument. I think I'm going to learn how. Or, I've never learned how to speak Chinese. I think I'm going to learn another language. Whatever it was something brand new. And what caused that, the neural pathways, because they were learning something brand new, would create new neural pathways. In today's science, it's called neuroplasticity. I'm going to talk like I understand it. New neural pathways that would go around the amyloid plaque, make a connection, and so all the connections were continuing to be made, and thusly they never showed the Alzheimer's that they in fact had physiologically. They never showed it mentally. Remember last talk on Revive Life, in the beginning of this one, I talked about the financial analyst who I met a few weeks ago, and he had taken up the vocation hobby of learning a brand new skill, totally disconnected from advising people how to make more money. And he was in love with life. He was learning something brand new and learning it in order to perform it. He was back there at, whoop, that doesn't work. He was back there at being 6 years old, learning new stuff, which meant a very thin neural pathway was being created. Now, he's already has an occupation, and he's making money, he's supporting himself, and doing all those things. So he's over here, but without the cynicism and being jaded, because although he knows these things that he's learned over the years don't give perfect happiness or self-fulfillment, he's got the best of both worlds. He's learning new stuff and in order to perform. So he's adding to that very new neural pathway, and it's making it wider and wider. The chance for him to ever have Alzheimer's or dementia is greatly reduced. Getting back to perception of time, can you think how grand it would be to wake up every morning and say, oh, I'm learning this new skill, I've got this rudimental part of this new skill under my belt, I'm going to get better and better at it. At the same time, what doorways, what opportunities is that going to open up to that person, that lady or man, girl or boy who has made the decision and then followed through to get another skill to the point of being performing it? Louis Pasteur had a saying, and it was, chance favors the prepared mind. Something to think about. Chance favors the prepared mind. At present, I'm learning Hebrew. I'm taking the Pimsleur language method, learning conversational Hebrew. I have the good fortune of working with some people that do speak some Hebrew, So I'm able to parlay with them a little bit. Sometimes it gets kind of frustrating because I don't have anyone to talk to just in Hebrew for long lengths of time. But I'm continuing to continue. And I would like to one day be able to go to Israel and be able to ask for water, coffee, tea, or where's the bathroom? I want to be able to perform it. And who knows what might come of it. Maybe I might be picked up by a tour group in order to lead a tour group and not have to pay for the trip because I speak conversational Hebrew. What is it that you could do? What is it that you could do that is not connected into something that you already know? Something totally different. The mathematician that wants to learn a new language, or learn ballroom dancing. The financial analyst that wants to learn how do you do bull riding, or fencing, or carpentry. What is it that is totally foreign to you that would create new neural pathways, and more importantly, slow down the perception of time speeding up, that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning and, boy, what am I going to be able to do today in this new skill that is going to make me more aware of all the gifts that we have and are able to get, especially being in this country, the United States, and other free countries similar. I was going to share with you some very specific poster thoughts, and please take them to heart because they're really connected to this thing about creating new neural pathways, about slowing down the perception of time, about jumping out of bed in the morning and just, I can't wait to get at it. See you in 2021.